Laying down. Good morning, everybody. Um, we're going to start class laying down, have a strap nearby. I'm going to sit up just for a moment because I want to read again this morning from one of my favorite books, The Half-Life of Angels by Mark Nepo. So this is a particularly wonderful book if you don't have any of his, because he's taken three of his books of poems and put them in one book. And I don't get any proceeds for telling you what a great book this is. So you're welcome to go ahead and lay down if you want. Get yourself comfortable. You can keep your knees bent or straighten the legs. And then just find yourself starting to settle into your yoga mat, to your breath, to your body. Feeling some nice deep breaths. And the poem that I'm going to read this morning is called This Takes Time. What you drop, I pick up. We don't even have to be in the same place to benefit each other. As an apple draws life from the sun before it lands in the mouth of a skinny deer, the unnameable spirit sets the laughter of a child in the path of someone's misfortune. They say when painters squint, the threads of light become more visible. Just so. As we let go of our definitions, what holds the universe together shows itself. And I love that because sometimes we have to, I feel like I have to anyway, I have to let go of some of the ways I think life should be, ought to be, how people should behave, and all of that, and just see what the universe holds. And I love this part of the poem where it says, the unnamed spirit sets the laughter of a child in the path of someone's misfortune. And you might notice that as you go about your day, that when you're feeling down, all of a sudden something catches your eye or something makes you smile that is unexpected and so, so very important. So with that, just feel your body on the yoga mat. And notice which parts of your body are touching, which parts of your body are not touching. Right? If your legs are straight, you feel your heels and maybe the backs of your shins just brushing the floor. And then maybe the upper thighs, the glutes, the shoulders, little tiny space behind the lower back. Notice where at the back of your head you land most naturally. Is it chin up, chin down, or ideally somewhere neutral? If you place your hands on your front hip bones, do they feel pretty even to you? And can we let the body settle in place and observe those habit patterns that maybe we start to let go of? And then let your arms reach overhead. Take the legs more hip distance apart and just stretch. Just stretch one end to the other end. Feel the left side stretch from the heel to the hand and then release that. Feel the right side stretch from heel to hand and let that go. Bend your left foot, put that on the floor. Bend your right knee, put that on the floor. Lift your hips just a little bit. Lengthen your lower back and then let the sacrum come back down on the floor or the hips come back down on the floor. Take the arms to cactus position. Leave your legs where they are and just drop both knees to one side. Go really, really gently here. So we're not doing wide legs. Often we'll take our feet wide. This time we're leaving them more hips width apart, and then they come to center. They go to the other side. So we're starting to wake up the body, wake up the hips, wake up the belly, right? The deep internal muscles of our core as we allow the knees to slide to one side and then the other side. No pain, no discomfort. Just notice the next time your knees are over to the right, go ahead and pause. Allow the knees to rest there for a second. Allow the left knee to be heavy. There should again be no discomfort here. The arms are in cactus pose. The left shoulder presses down toward the earth just a little bit. And then on your exhale, I want you to draw the left side belly and the left side ribs in toward the floor. So they're not really going to move. Your exhale is just going to press that side in. Good. One more deep breath on this side. Exhale, draw that belly and the ribs down toward the floor, almost like you were doing a little bit of a tuck. Inhale, the knees come to center. Exhale, they go to the other side. Just pause. So a lot of times, right, we'll see if we can press that on this side, the right knee down and all of that. I don't want you to do any of that. I just want you to let gravity find a little bit of a foothold here. Nice deep breaths, just letting those knees relax, letting the inner belly lengthen. And then 2 purposeful breaths as we inhale. Exhale, the belly on the right tucks in, the ribs tuck down toward the floor. Inhaling again. Exhaling. And then both knees to center, walk the feet together until they're touching, and then open the knees out to the side, Baddha Konasana. And then once those knees are out to the side, maybe you just rock side to side, almost like you were playing here, almost like you were a kid and you're just experimenting with what this feels like as you roll to one side of the hip and then the other. Just kind of relaxing here, maybe even a little smile. Big deep breath. And then settle back to the middle. Again, let gravity take hold here. Let your body just soften, gently stretching, no pressing, no pulling. Inhale, deep breath. Exhale, press down through the belly ribs. Good. One more. Inhale. Exhale, down we go. And release that. The knees come back to center. Your feet go hips width apart again. Grab your strap. Take the strap around your right foot. Take the right foot up to the ceiling. So we do this stretch a lot. And I want you to just kind of play with this again. If you flex the foot and the strap is around the ball mound, right? Notice where you feel the stretch. Now, if you were here Wednesday, we talked about extension through the joints. So try to press the knee straight, but don't hyperextend the back of that knee. So it's a straightish leg. I know some of you have super tight hamstrings, so be patient. And then slide the strap down to the heel of your foot and press straight down and feel that connection from the heel, the ankle, the center of your knee, all the way into the hip joint. Good, notice that. And then let it slide back up to your ball mound, straighten your left leg down to the floor. Now you'll notice here, if your hamstrings are super tight, as you straighten your left leg, your right knee is either going to want to bend or it's going to move pretty far away from that line, that straight up line of the hips. Those are both okay. Trust that, right? You never want to force anything. But if you did have a choice between a bent knee and a straight knee, I would rather see you move that leg, just move the leg away a little bit, the right leg, so that the knee can still be pretty straight. And then tone in through the belly, lift the left leg, hover the left leg just a couple of inches. Take the left arm up and overhead. You can have palm face up or palm face in, whatever feels good. Inhale, deep breath. As you exhale, press the ribs, the back of the hand into the floor. Keep the pressure off your head, neck. And then take both your left arm and your left leg up to the ceiling. Left arm, left leg up to the ceiling. Your right one is still hanging out there with the strap. Exhale, lower both. Let them both hover, both the left limb and the left arm, the left leg and the left arm. Inhale, take them up. Exhale, lower just this one side. Good. Last one. Bring them up. Exhale, lower, and let both come all the way to the floor. Relax your left hand, bring it back to the strap, bend your right knee into your chest, take the strap off, and then just straighten your right leg alongside your left. Let both relax and feel the difference. I am always amazed at how different one side feels to the other when we do this single-sided stretch. Bend both knees, both feet to the floor. Take the strap around your left leg. Reach that left leg up. Right now, your right foot is on the floor. The strap is around the ball mound, so press down through there. Be gentle. Feel that stretch along the back of your left leg. Try to press the knee relatively straight without strain. So find that spot for you. If there's no way, no how that knee is straightening, just don't even worry about it. Let the hamstrings open. I know, okay? And then slide the strap down to your heel and press straight down and see if you can find the connection of the heel with that hip joint. So just press straight down, breathe, and then slide the strap back up to the ball mound. Hold on to the strap with your left hand, straighten your right leg. Notice if that left knee got a little bent and just see how it feels to straighten it, even if you have to lower it down toward the floor a little bit. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, press the ribs down to the floor. By the way, your right arm is overhead. Breathe. Inhale here. Exhale. Your next inhale, both right limbs come up to the center, all the way up to the ceiling. And then exhale, let them come down, maybe hover. Inhale, reach them up. Exhale, let them hover. One more, inhale. Exhale, hover, hold. Check where you are. Did you flatten your lower back? Are you resting on the sacrum so that you have more neutral spine? And then lower those limbs all the way down. Release your right arm back down. Take the strap off your left foot. Lower both legs. Let both legs relax and go, oh, look how happy those hips are already. Good. Set your strap aside, but keep it nearby. Some of you might want it. Bend both knees. Take both knees to your chest, squeeze those legs in, take the hands behind your thighs and straighten both legs up to the ceiling. Good, nice tone to the belly. And then notice if your legs are too high, your pelvis is gonna curl and you're gonna rest on your lower back. So take the legs away until you find that line of the sacrum again. Both arms are reaching straight up. Both feet are reaching straight up. I'm flexing my feet. So you're going to take your right leg and your right arm overhead and leave the other two pointing up toward the ceiling. Allow it to hover and take it up. Switch sides, left side, left leg, left arm reaches back and take them up. Good. Two more, both sides. Right side lowers and up. Left side lowers. Woo. And up. Yes, indeed. Core work. Right side. Don't forget to breathe. And left side. And up. Hold everything up. Everything's up. Now it's your right leg and your left arm, opposite sides. Allow them to hover. A little more core work here. Take them up. Now it's your left leg, your right arm. If this is tricky for you, look at the limbs that are still up at the ceiling. Take them up. Right side, left, right leg, left arm. Breathe. I'm looking at my limbs pointing up there, so I don't have to think about it. Take them up. Left leg, right arm. You got this, everybody. Relax your jaw. Breathe. Take everything up. We got one more, both sides. Right leg, left arm. Woo! Breathe. Really work with that belly. And up. Exhale, left leg, right arm. Woo! You got it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and everything up. Knees come to chest, rock that side to side. We are almost done. Find your breath. And then take all 4 limbs back up to the ceiling. Ooh, draw the shoulders down. Listen up. You're going to take all 4 limbs out to the sides. Breathe. And then inhale, squeeze them all up through water as if you were in a pool. Exhale, open everything up. And squeeze it all back together. Good, 3 more. Slowly open up. So everything is in control here. Squeeze them back up. 2 more, open slow. You ever see those little bugs that float on top of the water when you watch those nature shows? This is what I'm feeling like right now. I'm just floating through that water. Squeeze it up. We got one more, everybody. Pause at the opening. Pause. And squeeze, squeeze, squeeze it up. Bend your knees. Bring your knees to your chest. Rock a little side to side. Let your left foot come to the floor. Take the right leg up. This is where I want to play a little bit today. You're going to take you're going to take both hands, grab your right thigh, and internally rotate that right thigh. So what does that mean? It's like I'm trying to turn a lid off of that leg if that leg was ajar. So I've got one hand back, one hand inside, and I'm internally rotating that leg. Just hold on to that in that configuration and straighten the left leg. Yep, just breathe, everybody. Internal rotation of the right thigh. We're using our hands to help that, right? The toes are pointing in, the thighs pointing in. And then let the left foot come back to the floor. Turn the foot straight. Hold. Last one. This time I want you to internally rotate the upper thigh, but then straighten the toes. It's a little tricky. Straighten the toes back towards center. And then release that. This will make more sense later. Put your right foot on the floor, take the left leg up. You're holding on to that left thigh and you're going to internally rotate it. Like you could screw it on or screw that leg on or screw it off. It's kind of a weird thing. So just hold that and then straighten the right leg. Big internal rotation here. Again, no pain, anybody. And breathe. And then release that internal rotation. Take it back into internal rotation. I'm trying to move that upper thigh in. And then I just want to see if I can straighten the foot any. And breathe. Good. Release that. Both knees to chest. Take both legs up. You're going to internally rotate both thighs. So I'm just kind of reaching outside to the inside of my thighs. I'm going to try to pull both of the thighs apart. Both feet are rolling in. Breathe. See if you can, so then straighten the feet. And then when you internally rotate, see if you can feel what's happening with the sit bones. It's kind of a weird thing, right? And then straighten and then externally rotate again. What I'm trying to feel is a widening of the sit bones. You don't even need the hands at some point. You've got that internal rotation and then just straighten the feet. All right, bend your knees. That's enough of that. Roll over to one side and come on up. Right. So sometimes we got to kind of lay that thought or that seed to see where we can go with it. Feel free to sit on your blanket if you would like and come into Janu Sirsasana on one side. If I'm mirroring here, I would have my right leg straight. The hips are pretty even, right? And I want to take this same right leg and I want to do a big internal rotation. So I'm going to grab that thigh and roll it in. You can see how my foot is turned in. And then I just want to straighten the foot and let go of the thigh. And feel the grounding, right? Center of the back of the knee, center of the hip. Sit up really tall. If you need a block underneath your knee, okay, you know to take care of that lovely knee hip complex. Inhale, take it up. Exhale, forward fold, go easy. Let the hands fall where they will. Draw the shoulders back. Feel the right leg draw in toward the hip. And imagine, right, with that foot straight, that you could feel an internal rotation of the upper thigh, upper hip to widen that sit bone. And breathe. Maybe the hands walk a little further forward. Maybe the hamstrings are feeling a little bit more open. Try not to lead with your head, right? It's really easy to want that head to kind of really reach forward here. And take a look at your foot. Is it straight? Is it sickling one way or the other? Can you isometrically dig the heel in? Find your breath. And press all the way up. Bend that knee. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, twist everything to that right, and you can either wrap elbow and take the other hand behind, or you can take the elbow to the outside knee and your right hand behind. Again, I'm mirroring for those of you who are looking at me going, that's not her right. Breathe, everybody. Little bit of a twist. Try to plant the foot that's on the floor. Good. Take it center. Grab your foot or your shin and press up. Reach the other arm, tone in through your belly. Find your breath. And release. Come back out. Inhale up. Exhale forward. Find your breath. So how do we find the way in, right? How do we find the way in? And press up, everybody. Nice job. Release that other leg. Shake them both out. There was another poem in Mark's book where he talks about sometimes we have to almost exhaust the body. Like if you like went dancing and just crazy dancing until you're like, so that you can feel what is actually happening on the inside. Something to think about. All right, so let's go to the other side. Again, always take care of your knee, right? If this is too much compression, you just walk it out a little bit, take some of that compression out. Another trick, by the way, would be a little rolled washcloth right behind the knee, which helps, which I never talk about. All right, thigh, internal rotation, like, I'm just gonna, it's almost like trying to get your inner thigh down to the floor. Your whole leg might turn in a little bit and then just straighten the foot. Lift up really tall. Inhale, take it up. Just a small swan dive forward. When you feel that first spot of resistance, let the hands come to the floor. Notice the foot. Is it turning in? What's your normal habit? Breathe. That little bit of an isometric pull back of the left heel as we lengthen the body forward. Think of this as exploring. I often will come into a pose and I'll just hang out for a while and explore. It's like, where do I feel this? Hamstrings attached to the sit bone, right? All three heads of that hamstring attached to the sit bone. And so when we internally rotate that upper thigh, we can maybe tap into where that attachment is a little bit more. We find our stretch, we find patience. Deep breath. And then walk your body up. Bend that left leg. Inhale, take it up. Exhale, find your twist, either arm around or elbow to the outside. Check your chest, check your spine, nice and tall, everyone. Feel your foot pressing into the floor. And then take it back to center. Grab your foot or your shin and see if you can get that leg up. You can take the other arm up. Think about extension without hyperextension, right? Where are you? If your hamstrings are going, no, thank you, your knee is bent. We have granddaughters visiting, and I remember their mom used to give them a no thank you bite. So maybe we have a yoga no thank you try. Good, release that, take it down. Inhale, take it up. Exhale, take it forward. And maybe notice that this forward fold is just a little bit deeper than the first one. Good. Soften it down, everybody. Remember what the goal is not, right? The goal is not to touch your nose to your knee. Your goal is extension, right? Hamstrings, torso, awareness, and walk it up. Woo. Good. Release soles of the feet together on or off your blanket. Just going to take the outer layer off. See if I can get to the inner layer. And breathe, everybody. Good. Bring those knees back up. Straighten both legs. Dandasana, staff pose. Flex the feet. Press the big toe mounds out as if you were stepping on the floor. Inhale the arms up. Remember we talked about extension last class, if you happen to have been there. Let's take the arms forward. We'll just have a little reminder here. Draw the shoulders back and then take your thumbs and point them down. Arms are straight, shoulders are down. Take the arms up and then just turn them in. And notice how nice that feels, hopefully, right? A little bit easier than just taking them up. Those shoulder blades are nice and open. And then exhale, let go. All right, that is enough of that. Let's come on up. Have your blocks at the front of your mat. You won't really need any cushion under your knees because we're going to come straight to downward facing dog. Spread the fingers. Open up those inner elbows. Slip your toes under and come into your very first downward facing dog. Once you're there, just check what's happening with your arms, with your hands, and then pedal your feet. Just pedal, pedal, pedal. And then just bend one knee and allow the other one to stretch through the back. So my left heel is pressing closer to the floor, my Achilles, the back calf. See if you can level out your hips. What I just noticed, and I've never noticed that before, is that with the left heel down, my left hip was kind of skewing out to the side. So I'm just going to draw that left hip back a little bit. And then switch, so the right heel starts to descend, the left heel lifts, and the left knee bends. And notice if it does that on that side. Nice job, everybody. Lift both heels and bend both knees and keep the arms reaching. Keep the elbows extending. Keep the inner elbows facing your thumbs. Your ears are right between your arms usually. And then separate your feet to the edges of your yoga mat. Walk your hands back on purpose, a little bit of weight bearing there. Bend your knees and take your hands to your knees and come on up. Oh, yeah, just roll it out, everybody. Just shake it out, shake out those hands and breathe. And then grab one of your blocks and come to the very back of your mat. You're going to take that block between your thighs, nice and high up if you can. And I'll just face forward to start. So think about what we did on the floor, an internal rotation. If we were to kick the heels out, internally rotate the thighs. And you feel this kind of widening through the sacrum, through the sit bones. You can even put your hands kind of in your back pockets. And keep that, but then just straighten the heels again. And see, it's like, and we've talked about this so many times, like a Pez dispenser. If I had this block and I pushed it back, or if I tried to squeeze it back, you're going to get this internal rotation of the thighs. What you don't want is the knees and the feet to follow. So how do we get that soft opening without rolling everything in? So it's here. So a little squeeze of the block, nice toned belly, hinge at the hips, and just take your elbows to your knees. Just your elbows to your knees. You're in a little bit of a squat here. And then keep the elbows on the knees, but straighten the legs. Watch your backs here. If that's too much of a rounding of your back, take your hands to your shins. And then bend the knees and come back into that little baby squat. Straighten the legs. Breathe good tone to your belly. There should be a nice 20% squeeze on the block. And then bend the knees. Good. One more. Straighten the legs. Lengthen your spine. I'm not trying to get the top of my head to the floor. I am trying to lengthen my spine here and the hamstrings. No kidding. Breathe. If you isometrically try to press your heels out, you'll feel that widening through the sit bones. Bend your knees. Hands come to knees. Squeeze the belly in as you lift up through the chest. Take the arms forward. Turn your thumbs down. Raise the arms and then turn the palms in. And breathe. Chair pose, that's all. Weird way to get to chair pose. Breathe. Stand all the way up. Squeeze your block. Exhale, soft knees all the way down to the floor, everybody. And then walk your hands out. Keep the block there to downward facing dog. Take your hands maybe a little wider on the mat than you're used to. Feel the extension of the arms. Your feet or hips width apart or blocks width apart. Little baby squeeze to the block as if you were going to press it out through the back. And feel the wide, sweet little distance of the sit bones, freeing up the sacrum and hopefully the lower back. Good. Plank pose. Same thing. Find your breath. So I'm not squeezing overly hard with the block. Press the heels back. You're on the ball mounds, but isometrically press the heels back. Lift the chest bone forward. Squeeze your block. Keep everything where it is. Just lower your knees. Just lower your knees. One, you're here. Two, you're going to take the feet off the floor. Oh, and squeeze those hamstrings. If you cramp, lower those feet back to the floor. Squeeze your belly, everybody. Lower the feet. Flip them over under and lift the knees. You're in plank. Squeeze the block. Walk to down dog. Squeeze the block gently. Walk your hands back all the way. all the way. Take your elbow, bend your knees and take your elbows to your knees. Interlace your hands, hang out for a second. Straighten the knees. Bend the knees. Straighten. Bend. Hands to knees. It's a tuck of that pelvis. Otherwise, you're going to sit in your low back. So it's a lengthening of the tailbone until you get the chest up. Find your breath, chair pose, and stand all the way up. Exhale, let go, and breathe. So it's kind of interesting when you're doing your forward fold with this block, because we're going to do another one of those. Notice if your squeeze presses you back or if your squeeze presses you forward. The goal is to press back, okay? If you went too far, right, you would just kind of do that. But it's this gentle inner thigh toning to widen through the sit bones. All right, one more. Here we go. We're going to get this drilled in. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, come on down, elbows to knees. Just think about it, right? If we're not working these legs, if we're not working the hips, we're going to have a much harder go as we get older. So we're using the strength of the legs. I'm going to squeeze the block just a little bit. And then again, if it's okay, straighten the legs. When I straighten the legs, I'm way more in a forward fold. I'm just supported because the arms are pressing into the legs. Bend the knees, lift your head, chest. Straighten the legs. And bend. Hang on right here. Hands to knees. That tone in of the belly, the lengthening of the tailbone, the lift of the chest. And then the arms come up. Nice extension with the arms. If you need to play with that thumb in first, you can play there. Breathe. Swan dive. Swan dive all the way down. Be careful, my low back folks. Walk yourself out to downward facing dog. Once you get to that distance, play with widening those hands a little bit. And then check out the hips. If I do that slight internal rotation of the thighs without letting the feet turn in, I get a bit wider in the sit bones and it feels for me very freeing. So maybe it does for you. If it doesn't, see how it feels to go the other way. Yuck, right? If I pull my heels in and try to externally rotate, that doesn't feel very good for me, but maybe it would for you. Good. Reach and stretch, everybody. Come to plank. Find your strength. Lower just the knees. Hold that pose. Lift your feet off the floor. That's optional. Inner elbows face your thumbs. Draw the elbows back and come on down. Slow, slow, slow. That block's going to feel funky. Let go of your legs and just draw the elbows back. So this is like the lowest possible cobra you could do without it being a true cobra. Breathe. Flip your toes under. Push your knees into the floor. Press up, half plank. Full plank. Downward facing dog. Find your breath. Walk your hands back on purpose. On purpose. Bend the knees. Take your hands to your knees. Come all the way up to standing and take that block out. Find your breath. Roll your shoulders and just notice, right? Notice where you might feel tight, where you might feel a little bit loose. And then stand in a nice mountain pose. Internally rotate like big time on purpose. So the heels just went out. Again, mindful. For some of you, this might not feel good on the inner knees. And if it doesn't, I want you to go straighter and just pretend the block is there. So you're just going to kind of reach back. And you can even see my knees are turned in a little bit. Hinge at the hips, reach back, hang in there, See if you can come into a forward fold. Hands can come to shins here. And then just straighten the heels in. And see if you can find that width, that distance in the inner thighs. Maybe your fingertips come to the floor. Find your breath. Imagine the heels are pressing in a little bit. Breathe. Bend your knees, hands to knees. Come all the way up and roll it out and grab your strap. I should have cued this at the beginning of class, but I want you to take your strap and put a loop in it. Celeste, because you have that kind of strap, I think you can just hold a pretend loop. I know a couple of you too don't have one with a thing. So if you have a loop, step your left foot through it. And actually, let me redo that before you do that, Carrie. The buckle, if you have a strap with a buckle, take the buckle to the inside of your thigh. So that means you're going to come in this way. If you don't, just wrap your strap around the upper inner thigh where you can reach it. Okay, kind of like this. It won't be as effective, but it'll work. So, buckles to the inside, step through. Take it up to your upper inner thigh. Tighten it, but don't go crazy. Don't cut off your blood supply. Okay, just so it could stay pretty much on its own. And then pull the strap through the legs and to the outside. All of that for this, right? So I think it'll be easier if we take our right foot forward and take our left foot back. We have the strap on our back leg. And it goes through the leg, so it's inside. It's always hard to explain the first side. And then turn your hips forward. Don't worry about this for now. Think about warrior one and how the back leg has to internally rotate in order for us to move the hips towards center and find that sweet warrior one. So take that strap and just put it over your shoulder. Hold on to it with that same side hand. Now, if I pull, what's going to happen? Right? The cheek lifts, the heel lifts, everything lifts. So I want a little bit of a pull and a dig down of the heel. I'm resisting on purpose. And feel the action of this leg while we're doing that. Take the other arm up and breathe. So I want you to ground your back heel, lift up, feel that. Once you feel steady, take both arms up. Warrior one. You can even switch the strap to the other hand, right? And you'll feel more of an internal rotation of the back leg. Really like that. And breathe. And then release. And come on out. Take that strap out. Switch sides. Make sure the buckle of that loop, or however your strap is to the inside thigh. I hope this is making sense. Sometimes I can get a little nerdy about my yoga. So I've turned around, we're switching sides. I have my left foot forward, my right foot back, and you can feel this thing, right? So it's kind of like this thing happening. So another option, right? Instead of coming here would be to just pull that strap forward again and find the internal rotation here. So press through the knee, press into the hip. Notice how that internal rotation of the leg brings the hip forward. Take your other arm up and breathe. Once you feel that, the grounding of the back heel, take the other arm up. Once you feel that, switch hands on the strap to bring it across. Press down as you pull up. Find your breath. And release it. Take that strap. Right as you pull on that strap, it's like, okay, it's getting a little tight there. and take the strap off. You know, I wasn't going to do this, but I changed my mind. Let's go one more place with this, and then we'll forget about the strap. Go back to the first leg. I know they're like, fine. Take it around your foot instead. Take it around your foot instead. Okay. Right leg forward, left foot back. Imagine if you pulled, keep that strap near the heel. And if you pulled up, it's going to lift, right? So pull up on it and then press the heel down. Feel the internal rotation of the hip as if that strap was there. Take the strap up if it's long enough and come into warrior one on this side. You can even hold both hands of both hands on the strap and lift up and breathe. You can let go of the strap and feel the strap underneath your foot and find the pose and breathe. Good. Exhale, let go. Same thing under other side. This is all muscle memory stuff. This is all feeling it so that you can duplicate it. Same thing other side. I want to see if I can pull that heel up. Now I want to resist. Take that arm up, take the other arm up. If you're super comfortable with it, you can take both arms up, opening up the chest and breathe. How's that feel? Right? It's kind of, you get the connection here, but then let go of the strap and imagine the connection. Imagine where that strap would be and the pull of the heel versus the arms. And then let go. And take that strap and just put it aside. Come to the front of your mat. Find the legs. Slight internal rotation. You don't have to move the feet. It's almost like you're just trying to pull those heels out a little bit to widen through here. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Keep the width of the sacrum. Hands come to the floor. Maybe you shake it out. Your knees can be bent here, everybody. Bend the knees and step back with your right leg. Come into a lunge. So knee up or knee down. Take your hands to your knee. Press up. Find that. Think about the back leg internally rotating a little bit, right? But the foot is straight. Inhale, reach the arms up. Find your breath. Exhale, take it all the way down to the floor. Step back to downward facing dog and find the internal rotation of your thighs. Notice what's happening with the upper body, the hands, the arms. Bend one knee, but let the other heel come toward the floor. Switch sides, bend the other knee. Notice how much more your hamstrings are open. Release both sides, plank pose. Find your breath. Think about it. The heels press back isometrically. The chest moves forward. The inner elbows pressing toward the thumbs. Lower the knees. Optional, bend the feet off the floor. Come on down, little chaturanga. Release the legs. Maybe you find a small cobra. Press into the feet, downward facing dog. Step forward with your right foot. A small hop up and a drop of your back heel, just a little bit. Warrior one, right? So I've got both feet planted. I'm going to take my hands to my knees. I'm going to encourage the internal rotation of the back leg as I lift up my chest. Inhale, reach up. Find your breath. If you're a little narrow, like I just noticed I was, pose is going to get a little wobbly. Maybe you take the hands together and reach up and maybe gaze up. Breathe. Exhale it all the way down, all the way, all the way, all the way. Straighten your back foot, but step forward. Bend the knees, take your hands to your knees. Tuck in through the pelvis, lift your chest, chair pose. And stand all the way up. Exhale it all the way down. Roll it out. Shake it out. Dance till you're so tired that all you can do is go in. Right? You ever do something like you were just so physically exhausted and you're dripping sweat and you're smiling and you feel great, right? Because you've let all those endorphins come out and you've found your inner happy. All right, here we go. Take it up. Exhale, little internal rotation of those thighs. Think of a block being there. Find your forward fold. Breathe, soften the knees, step back with your left foot. Make sure your pose is wide enough. Take your hands to your knee. Remember, your left knee can be down. In, nice inner draw of the core. Take the arms up, just a lunge. And breathe. Ideally, you want the back leg in this lunge to be straight forward, if you can. Breathe, feel that nice stretch, everybody. Slowly come on down, little swan dive. Hands down, downward facing dog. Feel the inner thighs roll back. If you had a block there, I would try to pull the block out, and you just wouldn't let me. Downward dog to plank. Inner elbows toward thumbs. Knees down. Maybe knees or feet up. That's just going to contract the hamstrings. And come on down. Release it to a low cobra. Maybe it's a sphinx instead. Good. Exhale, down dog. Hang in there. This is like a party in our bodies. Left foot forward. You're like, yeah, right. A little short hop up and a drop of the back heel. The front thigh, the front hip pulls back. The back hip rolls in slightly. Hands to knee. Woo. Warrior one. Press into your back leg. Maybe interlace. Maybe reach the arms. Maybe look up just slightly. Find that. And exhale, down, 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 slow, slow, slow. Step forward. Take your feet together. Bend the knees. This is a little harder chair. Hands to knees. Curl to lift. Reach up. Find your breath. Stand all the way. And let it go. Whew. And shake it out. Right? So it's kind of an interesting thing to play with. One of the other yoga teachers and I have been playing with more internal rotation and then seeing if we can hold that, keep that width. So there's another kind of interesting way to play with this. I want you to grab one of your blocks and place it on your mat, kind of on the left side. Your right foot's going to come forward. Your left foot's going to step back like a warrior two. Like a warrior two pose. And then you're just going to reach down, and you can even hold both blocks. I mean, that's fine. You're just going to reach down so that you're comfortable leaning forward here. The blocks are like a couple training wheels, and I might have to turn around for this. And so I'm in this warrior two stance. I'm going to take this hip and I'm going to reach it like way out, like way back, way, way back. And I'm going to see if I can find that it's almost an internal rotation of both thighs. And then I'm going to square that hip again. Take my hand to my knee and come on up. So that one's more subtle. It's almost like first we internally rotate. Sorry for this view here, right? Internally rotate, we find the space, and then we bring it back into alignment and find that. See what you think about that. I want you to play here. Yeah. And so, Celeste, you might notice how the knee curls in there. Yeah, I know, right? That little booger knee. So it's this kind of an interesting thing where we're almost internally rotating everything. And then we take the front hip and go, there's the opening. Now can I roll the front hip back to center? So it's this hip here. Let me turn forward because I can see the look of confusion going on. So if I'm here, right, there's my normal stance. I'm going to turn in and roll out. Like I'm really like if you had feathers back there, they'd be all up. They'd be pluming. Front hip then rolls back. And there's your pose. Does it make sense? Yeah. And then we feel the opening. What's happening in Warrior 2? This hip externally rotates. This hip internally rotates. But when we're taught to do this. But really, I don't know anybody that can have the hips squared and the knees in line without strain. So we sit the front hip back. If you poke your butt out and sit the front hip back and then take the torso up and see how that feels. Yeah, this is a workshop topic and maybe not a class topic. Yeah, and it's right here, right? So we're here and we're really just doing this, but yet being in what they would call an open hip pose. And if you feel it in your body, you'll know when you're straining. If I try to really pull apart, I feel a lot of strain. I don't like that. I want this hip to do a slight internal rotation. Then this knee is free to open here. And then I can just float the arms out because that's the icing on the cake. And everything here feels solid and secure. All right, bring those legs together, shake it out. I hope that made sense. I kind of went off on a little. I went on the path less taken. Bring your blocks to the front of your mat. Inhale, reach up, everybody. Exhale, take it all the way down to the floor, all the way down. Take your hands to your blocks. Maybe your blocks are at second level. Step back with your right foot and breathe. So this time, I want you to straighten your front foot, but think of a slight internal rotation and then square the hip. So when I bend my front knee, I'm internally rotating. My behind starts to poke out, right? And then as I straighten it, I'm just going to, it's like threading a thread through a needle. I'm just going to straighten it back up again and feel that nice open stretch. And then what's going on with the back foot, the back leg? That grounds to the floor. In fact, you can lift your back heel and feel the width of the sit bones and then draw the heel back to the floor. Bend your front knee, everybody. Optional here, walk those blocks forward. Push off your standing front foot, lift your back foot. And breathe. Lower your right leg back to the floor. Shake it out, just kind of shake where you're at. Where you're at. Good, walk those blocks back, step back with your left leg. You're in that stance of a lunge. I want you to think about it. So purposefully kind of internally rotate your front thigh, and it's going to make your hips skew out to the right. Feel that broadening and then thread the needle back. Draw the hip back as you straighten the leg. And breathe. And then lift the back heel, bend that knee. And then purposefully set that down. Also a slight internal rotation of the back leg. Find your breath. Bend your front knee. Walk your blocks forward. Push into your standing leg, everybody, to lift the other leg. So it's less momentum and more strength, right? More ability. Breathe. And then just lower that leg. Whew. Bend your knees, hands to knees, and come on up and shake it out. And then just a little bit of a balance pose because I do want to get us back on the floor before we come down to a close. So take the feet together. I like this one. We've done this one several times. Take your feet together, hinge from the hips, and come into a squat. Take your hands to your knees and feel the internal rotation, right? Little broken record here, as if you could reach back at those inner thighs and widen them out. And breathe. Knees are together, feet are together, sit bones are nice and wide. Tone the belly in and find chair pose. I often teach chair pose with feet apart. This one is more challenging. Hands to heart. Watch your low backs. Take your elbow to your opposite knee. Now you're pressing both knees back into the elbow so that the knees aren't going off to one side. Come to center. Go to the other side. Breathe. Come to center. Go back to the first side. 1, you're here. 2, you're going to see if you can press and lift opposite foot. Lower that down, center, other side, push knee into elbow. See if you can lift. Woo! And down, center, hands to knees. Stand on up. Whew. And breathe. Shake it out. Come on up to the front of your mat. Even in this pose, even in table or mountain pose, think of just the softest floating open of the sit bones. By the way, right, if you don't know where your sit bones are, they're right there. So your pelvis, right, this beautiful ilium come down and they move into what is that called? The ischial tuberosity. No. Yes, I think. Don't quote me on that. Right down here, it's where the pelvis comes around and meets where the pubis is, right? Center of the line, right there. All right, here we go. Inhale, reach up. I don't think I've had enough coffee. That's the problem today. Step back to downward facing dog, everybody. All the way back, stretch it out. Plank pose, right? You have no block. What are you going to do with that? Can you find it? Can you find the energy of the legs and the freedom in the lower back? Lower the knees. Chaturanga. Ooh. Blocks are in the way. Cobra if you want. Sphinx if you want. Anything in between. Breathe. See, in Cobra for me, if I try to straighten my arms, I hang. My elbows are bent. And lower down, everybody. That's a whole nother class. Whew. All right, you're on your belly. If you can, just bend one knee and hold. If you can, reach back with that same side arm. Draw the heel in toward the glute. Stretch that quad. Just breathe. When you stretch your quad here, try just pressing your leg or your hip toward the floor. Notice the change in the stretch. And let go. Other side, just bend the knee. If you can, same side hand reaches back. Press the top of the thigh toward the floor. And release it. Roll over to one side. And then come onto your belt or onto your back. Your knees are bent, your feet are on the floor. Take your feet wide and draw your knees in. Kind of what we've been playing with all class is this small internal rotation of the thighs. Close your eyes, your hands can rest on your belly. I just want you to feel this. And if you can, I want you to really soften into it. Like just allow everything to settle in. Deep breath. And then press your knees and your thighs towards each other. So you're actually squeezing in as if you were going to squeeze a block. Your feet aren't moving, they're still wide. Squeeze in and then just let go of the squeeze. And squeeze in again. Inhale, let go. Last one, big squeeze. And release. Walk your feet together, knees are touching, feet are touching. Squeeze everything to the center and let go. Good, squeeze everything and let go. Good, last one, squeeze and let go. If you have your block, you don't necessarily need them, but they can be really nice at this point in class. We're going to come back to our Baddha Konasana. The feet are together, the knees are out to the side. I love the blocks here for the support of the knees or the thighs so that this end of class pose can be restorative and you can let go of the work. You can also use blankets or pillows underneath. You can always adjust your blocks to any height and really anywhere from your knees to the upper thighs to find the support that you want so that you can fully let go here. The shoulders are nice and wide on your mat. Your head is back to neutral. Your hips are pretty level here. And I want you to feel a softening of inner thighs, hips, belly, chest. Maybe you feel your toes touching each other. Can you let go here? Can you feel as if you have danced yourself into this kind of blissful space where you don't have to hold on anymore? Feel the muscles between the jaws soften. Feel the belly rise and fall underneath your hands if your hands are there. Soften down even more. Very gently draw the knees together. If you have blocks there, just push them under your thighs and then straighten the legs over your blocks. Let them fully relax. Pause just a little longer. And then very simply here, I want you to straighten the feet so that they're pointing up again. Push the heels into the ground. And if your blocks are under thighs, I just want you to lift your hips a little bit. Your legs are straight. Squeeze your glutes. You can even lift your heels. The blocks are going to support you. If not, just keep the heels on the floor. And then fully let go. Just drop it down. And then one more here. Lift, squeeze your hips, squeeze your belly, and exhale it down. And then bend your knees and draw your knees to your chest and hug them in. Rock a little side to side. Just smooth all that out. And allow the knees to roll to one side. And then press all the way up. Hmm? Take your hands to your heart. Bow to your own inner wisdom. Trust yourself. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. We ran a little over today. And I know, let me, bye, everybody. I forgot.